Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Sports and Nonsense Podcast. Got lots to discuss this week, not just football, but we do have to make it. We can still probably do an hour. I got stuff to do tonight. I'm in a tournament.
Me too.
That I'm really bad at. I have no points in the first day, so I don't know why I'm doing it.
That's not why I don't have a lot of time.
But all right. So there was a lot that went on in the NFL this week, not just on the field, but off the field. Any comment on the Las Vegas Raiders situation that's going on over there?
Oh, what is going on in Las Vegas?
Well,
no,
there's a lot going on.
Why don't you explain it for those people who are in their car or in their library right now going,
for those people who are living under a rock.
Can I join you? Because please.
The NFL is investigating the Washington football team. This investigation has been going on for a number of years now. They have uncovered somehow.
Boy, have they.
They have uncovered some emails from about 10, 11 years ago of now former twice, Raiders head coach Jon Gruden.
It took me a second. I was like,
huh? Raiders head coach Jon Gruden, where he had said some very racially insensitive comments.
I haven't read the email, but I'm going to go ahead and take the person who's reporting its word for it.
Right. I also haven't, but so I'm going to take his word for it too. And considering what happened in Las Vegas this week, you know, but they were also some homophobic emails as well, which is
awkward.
Very awkward considering Carl Nassib recently came out this summer to the public. So Carl Nassib, who is a defensive player for the Las Vegas Raiders. So in light of all this coming out, Jon Gruden has formally resigned as head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And I don't know who's taking over. I assume it's one of
the assistant head coach.
I assume it's one of the assistants, one of the coordinators. Yeah. Thoughts?
I mean, there's no place for that kind of crap. I mean, I don't care if it was 10 years ago. He was talking about the NFLPA union leader, wasn't he? Wasn't like that the person he was there? Mm-hmm. Then he came out and was like, "Well, I'm not a racist." That sounds kind of racist, John. Yeah. I mean, you know.
I just want to point this out here too. I don't use email very often, right? I primarily text or message or something.
I use it for everything professionally.
Professionally, every now and then. But according to this reveal or this leak, there was 650,000 emails that were being reviewed as part of this investigation into workplace misconduct with the Washington football team.
I was gonna say that's the Washington that whole organization.
But the NFL Players Association yesterday has said that it plans to request that the NFL release the remainder, or I don't know how many has been released now, but the remainder of the 650,000 emails. Leaked emails from the investigation show that Jon Gruden used racist, misogynistic, and anti-gay language led to the Raiders coach resignation Monday night.
You know what? It's like that same crap that we always tell our kids. Like, you're not sorry. You're sorry you got caught.
Right.
You know, like we all make mistakes. I'm not saying we make mistakes like that, but we all make mistakes, you know, and there are plenty of mistakes that I made 10 years ago that I've since forgotten about. But I can assure you there's no email out there right now that has me using a racial slur from 10 years ago. But again, there's no place for that. And he was directing it at people in particular, which I'm sorry, that's racism. I don't care what, you know, maybe Jon Gruden doesn't inherently have a problem with people who aren't white, but he made racial terms and slurs, which by definition is racist.
Right.
So again,
and it was
there's no place.
It wasn't just in general. It just wasn't just like he was just saying stuff. He was saying it about DeMaurice Smith, who is the executive director of the NFLPA.
And let's acknowledge 10 years ago was not 1968. 10 years ago was 2011.
Yeah.
Like that is when
technically he wasn't a part of the NFL at the time. I don't know if he was
I don't care.
I don't even know if he was working with ESPN.
No, he was with ESPN. He was with ESPN
but
at that
still,
point.
Like it's called being a good human being.
Be good people. Have you guys tried that? Have you guys tried that? Have you guys given that a shot? But honestly, I know that it's a Jon Gruden thing from 10 years ago, and he wasn't even a part of the NFL at that point. But it makes the NFL look really bad.
It does, especially with
because all the end zones have it takes all of us and end racism on the helmet. Like it. And I know he wasn't a part of the NFL technically at that time, but it still makes them look really, and it makes them look like hypocrites. I'm going to be honest. Again, we're not a political show, but there's nothing political about that. That's just plain racism. And it's a shame because Jon Gruden was always, for the most part, well liked by a lot of fans, and for his goofiness and his players, and that's got to be awkward for a lot of his players and former players.
It's like, a blow to the NFL as a whole by ways of not just by the way that he made the comments, but that because it came from someone who was like so well respected in the league. He was a coach for a very long time in the 90s and in Oakland.
Won a Super Bowl.
The Raiders were in Oakland. Then he went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl in 2002 with Tampa Bay. And after a few years in Tampa, I think he left the NFL completely. And, he went into broadcasting. He was with the Monday Night Football for a few years. And then after so often, he decided to go back. He decided to go back to football and to be a head coach. And he's a head coach of the Raiders for the last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, he signed a 10-year contract.
He was one of the highest paid coaches in the league because of his name.
I don't think I'm blaming the Raiders or giving any real fault to them, because there's, and if they knew and hired him anyway, then that makes them just, if not more guilty.
Davis look bad.
But I highly doubt, and I could be wrong, but I highly doubt that they knew about the emails.
No, I don't think they did. Because like I said, it's not coming from like a workplace email. He wasn't with the Raiders at the time. He was probably coming. No,
that's
from
what I mean. So I highly doubt that they knew. And the statement they released about it, I did read, and that statement was basically saying, we're gonna fire him if he doesn't quit. So they were not happy with it, and and I mean this in the most politically correct way. They came from Oakland, which is a very diverse city. Like there are a lot of African Americans and minorities in the city of Oakland. Like that is, a lot of your fan base is of minority, background.
And obviously he didn't use the N-word.
No, but still,
he wasn't going after somebody. He says when he was talking with ESPN, he said that he never had a racial thought when he was using the words that he was using, which but for all intents and purposes, for being that we were like kind of, I don't want to say we're like news, but like we're entertainment. So like the emails are quoted as he was saying that Smith, who again is the executive president of the NFLPA, he said he's quoted as saying that his lips are the size of Michelin tires. So
when we all know what that means,
we all know what that means. We all know what that is referring to.
Yeah. And again, like you can sit here and tell me, oh, I said it without thinking racism, but like you said it, and you can't say that without acknowledging one specific feature.
Right. Because you're not going to say that about someone who is.
You're not going to say it about.
You're not going to say that someone about like a
Roger Goodell
or Roger Goodell, right?
You're not going to say Roger Goodell's eyes look like they're always exhausted,
right?
Like, but so don't. I don't know. I'm not saying he is a racist, but I am saying that what he said was incredibly racist, and he knows it. So it's a it's a black eye on the NFL. It's a I mean, it's a knockout punch for Jon Gruden. We're never going to hear from that guy again. And I feel bad for his players, man, and his coaching staff. I mean, that's got to be the most uncomfortable Monday morning meeting with the team ever. Mm-hmm. When you're the new head coach walking in there, I mean, they all know you. You're the assistant head coach, but like that is just, I don't envy that guy. Mm. And then all they're going to talk about all week. I'm sorry, all Sunday is that at the Raiders game.
Oh yeah,
is where the absence of Jon Gruden.
Yeah, the Raiders are playing this weekend.
So I feel bad for the team too. I feel bad for his players. It's just it's a disgusting act, and there's no place for it. There's just simply not.
Well, now that we got the
anywho
way,
10 more minutes.
Let's move on to what happened this week in the this past week in the NFL, shall we? So how's the Giants look, Rich?
They look like.
Tell me how the Giants look, my bud.
They look like somebody threw out a hot mess into a dumpster fire, which was then in a car wreck, which was then transported on a train, which was then in a train wreck.
I noticed you didn't respond to my last message when after the pick six.
I turned it off by that point. I wasn't even watching it anymore. Okay. So I had no idea what you're talking about, but I could pretty much figure it out.
I mean, I'll clue you in. Dallas was up 37-20. Dallas was up 37-20, and they picked off Mike Glennon, and it was like there was like a minute left in the game, and instead of like he had open field in front of him, so obviously he's going to score. But like, come on, guy, you can't just like kneel it down and take the kneel downs for the win. No.
The same thing. The same thing I said about Baltimore. Yeah, it's your job to stop them.
Well, I mean, there was stopping him.
I turned it off like. I don't remember when, but I was just watching it and I was like, "No, that's enough of that." And I just turned it off.
Was it on? Oh, it was game of the week, so it was on national broadcast, so you could actually watch it.
Even when where?
On Fox.
I don't have cable. I had to watch it. I had to stream it on my phone, like in Chinese.
Well, that's what I mean. Like on your phone, you could have opened the NFL app and watched it on your phone for free. I think because you have Verizon, right?
We're going to talk after this meeting.
Right.
But I turned it off. And you know what? The score was 10-10 at one point. And I remember my mom texted me. She said, "Oh, they're doing pretty good." And I was like, "Don't let the score deceive you. They were getting their asses kicked." And she said, "Oh, it's 10-10. I was like, "It shouldn't be."
I mean, it doesn't help that your number 2 and 3 wide receivers were out for the day before the game even started. Shepard and
Shep's 2. But number 3 is Kadarius Toney. Slayton is not 3.
Slayton? No.
Well, yeah, Slayton is not 3.
4, whatever. You're 2 and 4.
Slayton's lucky he still has a job, as far as I'm concerned.
Your 2 and 4 wideouts are out for the start of the game. And then Saquon goes down with a pretty high ankle sprain, which looked real
gnarly.
Bad.
Yeah. And then it turns out it's like a low ankle sprain, and like he's going to miss like 2 to 4 weeks. And I was like, is he though?
And then Daniel Jones is out with a concussion.
Bell rung.
In comes Mike Glennon.
That's why I turned it off. I think as soon as he got the hit, I was like, okay. I just because the minute when he got up, I started stumbling. I was like, oh, okay, well that's the end of that. So Mike Glennon.
Galladay went down with an injury as well.
That sucked.
So like your entire offense.
Yeah, the offense is hurt, and we didn't have our start. We didn't have our starting left tackle who's been playing like an All-Pro.
I was really only referring to the playmakers, like the actual playmakers. Your playmakers are hurting.
Yeah, you let me know. You let me know how a team with a shitty offensive line does in the Super Bowl. Our left tackle was out, so and that was not a good start.
So I mean, you played the Cowboys. It was kind of one we both picked the Cowboys, so it was kind of one we both expected the Cowboys to win.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to pick the Rams this week.
So Giants are playing the Rams. So
the Giants are on track for a top 5 pick. That's their pick. So God knows what Chicago will give them because we still have their first round pick. But
yeah, so I've actually seen early projections. I've already seen early projections of like the NFL draft for next year, and
I haven't yet.
The
I
Giants
usually wait until week 10 at least.
The Giants currently hold the 4th and I think the 6th pick in the draft.
Yeah, Chicago needs to keep losing. That's what I need.
Yeah. So could you imagine if like the Giants have back-to-back like two
what if they got,
and three
what if they got, what if they got like 1 and 2?
1 and 2. I don't know if the Bears are going to be worse than the Jets this year. The Jets could pull it around, but
I don't. And I think realistically speaking, we're maybe one top 5 and then one top 10. I think
the Bears could keep losing. You could have 2 top 5s. I mean, you're on that edge.
Could you imagine that
if you got 4 and 6? So
could you imagine the trade bait you would have with 2 top 5 picks? Like, so who wants to give us their entire organization? Because you can still get your guy, and then you can just trade away your second pick and get a boatload of picks, for someone who needs a quarterback.
So I will talk about my team now, and my team looks awful. We won this week. But I classify this as like a loss. Like you're playing a 1-4 Texans team or a 1-3 Texans team with Davis Mills as their quarterback.
Yeah,
you should. Yeah, and you played and Mac Jones and the defense and the offensive line played a really great game against Tom Brady the week before. You should have went into Houston and smashed them. No. You know what happens? We keep putting the ball on the ground. I don't know what it is with the Patriots and fumbling of footballs, but they like to put the ball on the ground. And I think what they need to do is they need a little air out of the football so they can
don't say that
so they can keep a hold of them. Keep a hold of them.
Don't say that. You're gonna upset a whole bunch of people you're gonna upset a whole bunch of people who I swore weren't watching football anymore. Hang on, I gotta fix something because we're both on this train. So
yeah, we're both on. I mean, they won, but I'm not counting it as a victory. It's not a victory. You have 2 wins this year. You have 2 wins: the Jets and the Houston Texans, which you almost lost.
Aboard.
Yeah, we're getting aboard the L train and I'm pretty sure we're both getting aboard the L train this week too. Because
I have waited for this day for so long, and now that it's here, I must say I am not pleased with myself. I have been waiting for you guys to be bad for so long because your fan base, not all.
And you know what's funny is
they
spent $170 million in free agency this past year. I think if they win 5-6 games this year, I bet Belichick's got to go, man. Because it's probably not the players at that point. Like,
you guys are quick to give up on him,
huh?
Quick to give up on him.
I mean, you look what Brady's doing down there with all of these. He's got the influence to bring people to his team, and that's what brought people to New England when they were signing Randy Moss, Chad Johnson, Ocho Cinco, whatever the hell his name is now. Stephen Ridley.
I don't know what it is now.
Like all those players played to come play with Tom Brady, and that's what they're doing in Tampa.
I have been waiting for you to join us on this train for so long.
Now, I will say,
and let me finish, because half of your fan base are just abysmal winners. And why I'm not pleased with the way this is going is because those half who are abysmal winners are Tampa Bay fans now. They're just like, Brady. It's all about Brady. You guys can't get enough of him. And then like half of y'all jump ship and now root for Tampa.
Unlike the Giants, the Patriots could still make the playoffs.
Of course they could.
They still have a chance to make the playoffs this year. So I've got that going for me.
Of course they do, which is nice.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the teams that are like on the edge of the wild card, I mean, you've got Oakland, Cleveland's pretty good. The Packers,
Sorry to go back to Jon Gruden, but Tampa Bay has removed him from their Ring of Honor.
Oh yeah, Oakland I think Oakland removed him too.
Good. Anyway, carry on.
Yep.
Sorry, I just saw that.
But yeah, so I mean, if you look at the teams that are in like the wild card position, because there's 3 of them now, you have to remember that it's the second year they've done that. There's 3 positions now. You've got Cincinnati, Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
Cincinnati's surprise good. I mean,
Raiders and
Joe Burrow almost died on Sunday, but
yeah,
you know.
But there's probably not going to be a wild card team from the AFC South because Tennessee Titans have 3 wins. All the other teams have a combined 2 wins.
Disco Dancer's still there.
Yeah, Disco Dancer is still there, which is very surprising considering what's happening in Las Vegas. But then you've got Cincinnati, Cleveland, and Pittsburgh in the AFC North. All 3 of those teams could potentially take those 3 wild card spots.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy if an entire division got into the wild card? And then you've got Las Vegas, Denver, which I think they're fraud. I think Las Vegas is due for a downturn with everything that's going on. They're not going to be focused on football. Denver is a fraud team. And Kansas City, which is last place in their division, they are probably going to make an uptick at some point. But their defense is bad. So like if their defense keeps playing bad, they might not make it.
They'll make it. I just don't know if they'll do anything. I don't know, man. I think Buffalo right now is the team.
Last year, 11 wins was getting you the wild card. I think it's going to be like 9-10 wins. It was
an extra game this year. Don't forget.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. So like 9.
So it could still be 10 wins.
It still could be 10, but you have the extra one. So like 9 or 10 wins will get you that 7th wild card. And I think the Patriots are on track. I think they can get that. They just have to play good games.
What you have to do
the rest of their division.
What you have to do is you have to win the games you're supposed to win.
Right.
You really need to do that. You can't drop any games that you're supposed to win. You know, winning an upset might be helpful too. But I think if you guys win the games that you should win, you should make it.
But based
on your schedule.
I think the AFC is now turned into the NFC from years past, from 10 years ago. Because if you remember, the NFC of 10 years ago was awful. Like Arizona was bad. The Rams were not great. Seattle was okay. San Francisco was meh. And then you had like Carolina, who was bad. Tampa, that was bad. Chicago, Minnesota, Detroit, all bad. So like, I think the AFC is now kind of turned into that NFC kind of, trend. But
L train.
L train. We are on the L train, and we will be probably next week too.
I think the best thing I saw was today. The Giants' social media posted about how on Sunday they're going to be celebrating. It's been 10 years since Super Bowl 46. And somebody commented, "And you ain't done shits." I was like, "And you've won 10 games since."
I would also like to talk about, because I don't know if I'm going to go through every game, but I am going to go through one thing. Why are NFL kickers so weak-minded when it comes to big spots and confidence
thing? I mean, you're kicking a ball with your foot. There's way less control in that.
That's
than there is
your job, though, and all you got to do is kick it straight.
I mean, I think that's much easier said than done.
It is. But they also get paid millions of dollars. I mean,
you have kickers who, like Justin Tucker, who when he misses looks legitimately shocked, and then you have kickers.
Justin Tucker is the only reliable kicker in the league right now.
And then you have kickers like the guy in Cincinnati who celebrates way too early.
Mm-hmm. McPherson,
yeah.
He did hit the flag, which I guess maybe made it look like it was in. But come on, man.
I think what's difficult for kickers is if you have a bad game, right? Like if you miss 4 in a game, like you're probably going to get fired Tuesday morning. Like
no, that's not true. Mason Crosby missed 2 extra points and 3 field goals on Sunday.
I said probably not going to be fired.
And then he hit the 49-yarder for the win.
Now, kicker misses 4 kicks and they lose the game, right? Quarterback throws 4 interceptions and they lose the game. Who's more likely to get fired on Tuesday morning?
The kicker.
Yeah. That's so. Of course, you're gonna be Of course,
kickers are easily replaced. All you got to do is kick the ball.
Of course, it's gonna be in your head. There you go. You answered your own question. You can get fired for a windy day. You can get fired.
But like,
I'm right. So
Mason
move on to the next
Crosby
segment.
has had 3 opportunities to take the lead in that game against the Bengals, and the Packers were lucky to get out of there with a win because they shouldn't have won. Like the Bengals shouldn't have won either. That game should have ended in a tie.
Then if they lost, then there's a good fair chance Mason Crosby gets left on the tarmac at the airport. So,
And then you have actually the Colts should have won Monday night's game because Rodrigo Blankenship missed a 40-yard field goal for the win at the end of the game, which then put it to overtime, and then the Colts lost. So
40 yards.
I think he also
it's a long way. It's a long way, 40 yards.
That's like it's like a chip shot for kickers nowadays. Like 40 yards, it's like 40 yards is automatic in kicking nowadays.
Evidently not.
When you're kicking 30-yard field goals for extra points, man. 40 yards is like a
when we played the Saints last week before, Graham Gano missed a 35-yarder and then he fucking nailed a 57-yarder. So I mean, they just, who knows? Maybe they slipped a little bit. You never know. I
don't get how you can be so inconsistent at the one thing that you're supposed to be good at.
It's like pitchers. I mean, pitchers get inconsistent. Have a bad game.
Yeah, one game, but like. If you miss one kick, I understand. Like that's okay. You missed 1, 2. I'll cut you some slack, but 3, come on.
I think it also depends on the kicks you're missing. I mean,
it's like what George Bush said.
Fool
me once, shame on you.
Shame on you. Fool me twice.
Fool me, you can't be fooled again.
Yeah, can't be fooled again. Oh God, that was a simpler time back then. I saw somebody post something with him on it with GW, and it was like 2002, a simpler time. There was no Twitter. There was no Twitter. We didn't know how good Tom Brady was yet, and there was just like a bunch of random shit. Like the iPod still had to spin to pick your song. It was just funny. It was like a simpler time. No Twitter. Tom Brady wasn't an elite quarterback yet.
So we're not going to go through every game, the big ones we kind of went over. The Chiefs is the big one just because we both picked the Bills to win that game, but like
Bills are for real.
I thought it was going to be closer than that.
That was definitely like their for real game because they are for real. They're good.
That is a real team now, and Josh Allen needs to be respected.
He's good, man. He's good. Which is funny because that was the year that there was 4 quarterbacks, and I remember, and I'm only going to relate it to the Giants because I'm a Giants fan, but we picked Saquon Barkley, and the base on what the media was saying, you would think that was the last time you could ever get a quarterback. And out of the 4 quarterbacks taken, Josh Allen's the only one worth any sort of weight, and he was the 4th quarterback taken.
Mm-hmm.
The 5th was Lamar Jackson, but
a lot of teams now, like. There's a lot of people out there that will say picking a running back at 2 is not a smart idea.
No, it's not. But when there's a player who's supposedly a generational talent, it's worth it. But now looking back, yes, I was happy we had Barkley, but I think I would rather them have picked obviously Josh Allen, but hindsight's 2020. But Quentin Nelson, the guard who's in Indianapolis.
So you're saying you would want the Giants to have redrafted if there was an opportunity to redraft, you would.
If we could go back, I would want them to pick Allen. But if I couldn't pick Allen, I would pick Quentin Nelson.
Yeah, because who was the other quarterbacks from that draft?
It was Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen. Oh no. The fact that I can't remember his name tells me he's probably not that good. Sam Darnold, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen. Was Lamar Jackson the 4th? Baker Mayfield. Yes, he was the first pick.
He was the first
Baker Mayfield. I'd take Baker too. I think he's a scumbag, but I'd take Baker too. He's pretty good,
So, I mean, redrafting that, that era, definitely. I don't know if Baker would still go 1. I think Josh Allen would go 1.
I think it. Yeah. I mean, yes, I would take Josh Allen 1.
Josh Allen would go 1.
We know now.
And then the Giants
Baker
would take
Baker or Quentin Nelson.
Baker or Quentin Nelson. Yeah. DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley was in that draft class. Lamar Jackson was in that draft class.
Yeah, he was the last pick of the first round.
Now didn't say that, Lamar Jackson.
Yes, I did. I said he was the 5th quarterback.
Oh. Josh Rosen.
Now I don't, based on the product that Saquon has put out on the field and how much time he misses. I mean, yeah, I give him the 5th year. I'll take it because it's cheap, but I don't see how they re-sign him. Yeah. Especially based on right now. So I don't see
with all the injury status.
Plus, I don't think the GM who drafted him is going to be there when it comes time to do that. So, I don't think Barkley is a second contract Giant. Mm-hmm. And you know what? If that's the case, I hope he does well somewhere else. I just as a Giant, you gave us one good season. So,
did you know Baker Mayfield not a Pro Bowl selectee?
Well, Pro Bowl is a popularity contest anyway. It's not real. I care about the All Pros.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that's surprising.
Yeah, I mean, Evan Ingram is a Pro Bowl tight end. He's not a Pro Bowl. He's barely even a starter, and he's a Pro Bowl tight end. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. I wouldn't have thought that. No, Baker's popular.
In the Cleveland market?
Calvin Ridley, not a Pro Bowl wide receiver.
Yeah, again, popularity contest.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was the year we had 2 picks in the first round, and we took Isaiah Wynn and Sony Michel. Look how that turned out. Bill.
Sometimes drafting doesn't go
Sony
good.
Michel's gone, and Isaiah Wynn blows. So that's week 5. Other stuff to get to before we do picks. We do picks at the end. The MLB postseason is wrapping up the division series, I think, tonight. I don't know. I'm clicking on things to open them up so that I can find out.
We're gonna talk everything in a question.
It's tomorrow.
I can't stop.
The final matchup for the NLDS is on Thursday, tomorrow. Los Angeles and San Francisco are playing in the 5th and penultimate game at San Francisco at AT&T Park, I think is the park over there in San Francisco. And then the American League Championship Series has already been slotted, where Boston Red Sox and Houston Astros will be playing game 1 on Friday. So Boston Red Sox, very surprising that they got into the American League Championship Series. They played a Rays team, which likes to use analytics to try to win games. And
doesn't work out too. We talked about that I think before the season.
It works like if you did you watch Moneyball, right? The Brad Pitt Oakland A's documentary type movie. It works for 162 games. So it works for the entire season. That it's good. It's project like the analytics style of baseball is projected to get wins. And that's what is you do for 162 games. You want to get the most wins possible. But it doesn't work when it comes to those 5-7 game series. It doesn't like. So a best example I can give out is in game 4, the starting pitcher for the Rays pitched through the Red Sox order once and then got pulled. So he didn't see the order a second time around, because that's what their plan was going into it. When Kyle Schwarber, who was the leadoff man for the Red Sox in game 4, he saw one pitch in his first at bat and he swung at it and got out. That batter only saw one pitch from your starting pitcher.
Yeah.
Pitch to him again. Like to throw different pitches. Yeah,
you probably got 4 more you can send his way.
Don't pull your starter.
And he's not hitting the first one very good, so you can still throw it again.
Because like the when I think about postseason baseball and like matchups, I'm thinking like Roger Clemens versus Pedro Martinez. Like that's a matchup. That's a matchup where both starting pitchers are going to go 7 innings minimum. Yeah. Like they're going to go
unless they throw up an absolute
unless they
pisser,
barf all over themselves. Yeah. But like those 2 studs are going to, and that just doesn't happen anymore. So you put out a stud and he goes for 3 innings, and it comes to the third time through the lineup, and the analytics says, oh, the pitcher does worse on the third time through of the lineup, so we might as well pull him now so we can get a new fresh face pitcher in there.
Who's not your starter? Who's not your starter for a reason? You know,
I don't like where the game's gone. Like, I like the postseason. I really don't watch the regular season anymore, but I'll watch the postseason because.
Could you imagine if like football was like that, and they were like, "Well, Mike Lennon has a career 1-0 record against the Cowboys, so we're going to start him." Because of one game in 2002 or so, you know,
the thing about it too is what was it? When was that game? It was game 1 of the ALDS, which was
didn't Tampa win that one?
No, the NLDS. Game 1 of the NLDS. It was Los Angeles versus San Francisco. And the pitching matchup was was it that one? Oh no, you know what it was? It was the play-in game for the NL. So the play-in game for the National League was Los Angeles versus St. Louis, right? The pitchers that started that game was, oh my God, that scared the crap out of me. I was talking and all I heard was, I'm making dinner for a girl, because an ad popped up on my ESPN page. So I was just like, who's speaking? So anyway, the pitching matchup for the National League play-in game or the wild card game was Max Scherzer versus Adam Wainwright. That's a stud matchup. Yeah. That's a great. Do you want to know how many innings Max Scherzer and Adam Wainwright combined for? 9
6.
2/3.
Oh, that was close.
You're close.
6.
So Scherzer went 4 1/3. Wainwright went 5 1/3. The Dodgers used 7 pitchers in
Ridiculous.
the whole game. So Scherzer went 4 1/3. He got pulled in the 5th inning. Kelly came in to finish the 5th, and then they had a pitcher go for the 6th. They had another pitcher go for the 7th and 2/3 of the 8th. They had another pitcher come in for 1/3 of the 8th. And then
at this point, let's just have baseball have a new pitcher every inning. The new rule, new pitcher, all 9 innings.
That's what pitcher. I mean. Like, it's all about the matchups now. It's not about how good the stuff is from that pitcher. Like, and that's what baseball used to be. Like I was the best pitching matchup I can think of it's Pedro Martinez versus Roger Clemens. That's the best one I could think of, like, off the top of my head, because it's 2 studs going out on and I mean, by all means, that was a Red Sox Yankees rivalry anyway from like the early 2000s. So that was going to be a good game anyway. But like that's what it used to be. Or God, what the hell's his name? Andy. Oh, that's going to make me mad. The pitcher.
Andy Pettit, is it?
Is it Pettit? Andy Pettit?
Pettit, and that could be a comedian for all I know, but I think it's Andy Pettit.
No, I think you're right. He's a pitcher for the Yankees.
He was definitely a pitcher. I don't know if he's the one you're thinking of.
Yes, it was Andy Pettit, played for the New York. Yeah. So guy's a stud pitcher, and he goes out and he's, throwing against whoever's pitching for the Red Sox that day, whether it be Derek Lowe or whoever was in that early 2000, late 2000 team, whatever. But like, I can't think of anyone else besides Pedro off the top of my head for some reason. Or
but even though you remember, think
Kurt
back
Schilling.
to like
Kurt Schilling on the mound too.
I mean, think back to like all the Red Sox, like Mike Mussina on the Yankees, like like it was always a good pitching matchup, and they pitched the whole effing game.
CC Sabathia versus David Price, that's come on. Like,
get your pants off.
You're not going to watch that game for the hitting. You're watching that game to see who's going to like last the longest on the mound.
At that point, it's like a golf game. You know,
it really is. Because the other thing that pisses me off about the game at the moment is the fact that it takes so goddamn long.
Oh my God. I haven't watched a full game in so long because it takes forever.
Game 3 of the American League Division Series at the Red Sox and Rays went 13 innings. It went 5 hours and 15 minutes. Like, in the regular season, in extra innings, they had a man start on second base at the top and the bottom of each inning so that the game could be over fairly quickly. But when the postseason starts, they're not doing that anymore because that's not what the game is about. Well, the game is about,
what about the other
nobody's going to sit down
games?
and watch 5 hours worth of you throwing a ball around the yard. Like the longest game I went to, it was a Red Sox.
I remember that actually.
A Red Sox Blue Jays game. It went 19 innings. And it's not even like it was an offensive explosion where the game ended like 12-11. The game ended 3-2.
Oh, yeah. So, like, it wasn't even fun.
It wasn't. It was a cool experience to say I paid money to see 2 ball games in one night because it was 19 innings.
Two and then 1 inning.
So but the game ended at 1:30 or 1:15 in the morning. And it started at like 6:00. Because
you gotta run to the
tomorrow.
You gotta get up in a few hours. You gotta sleep fast because you gotta go to work.
Oh my god!
I remember that. I think I remember that actually. I think you and I were friends at the time when that happened too.
Yeah. Talk about I don't know. So that's my grief with baseball right now.
It's the same thing with even like college football. I mean, that can go on forever in theory because it's just you keep playing until
Yeah, but at least football is fun. Like football is exciting. It's fast paced.
There was I forgot the name of it, but I remember I was in high school and there was a tennis match that went on for, I'm not even kidding, I think it was like 2 days. I'm not even kidding because it was just like absurd. It was so long that my mom was like, are they still playing? Like, hang on, I'm going to look it up. Tennis. Where is it? Yeah, 2010. I'm sorry. It was 2 days, but it was, the longest tennis match. It lasted for 11 hours and 5 minutes and was contested over 3 days.
Can we talk about some of these pitching matchups from 2004? Like, so.
Oh yeah.
Game 1, Curt Schilling versus Mike Mussina.
Yeah, the Moose. Yeah, that's what I said.
Like, I mean, Curt Schilling only went 3 innings that game, but it's because the Yankees went up 6-0 pretty early.
Yeah, that'll do
Game
it.
2, Pedro Martinez versus Lieber. I don't know who Lieber is, but again, Pedro went 6, Lieber went 7. Game 3, Bronson Arroyo versus Brown. Again, I don't know who Brown is for the Yankees, but apparently he got pulled after 2 innings, but because the Red Sox went up 4-0. Game 4, Derek Lowe versus Hernandez. I don't know who Hernandez is. I don't know many of these. Oh, okay, here we go. Pedro Martinez versus Mike Mussina in Game 5.
Yeah,
that's a matchup.
Game 5 too. Game 5.
It's Game 5. That was a pivotal game. Curt Schilling versus Lieber, and then Derek Lowe pitched against Brown again. Oh, and then I guess Wakefield started in the first game of the World Series. Wakefield and Williams. I don't know any of these Cardinals pitchers, but
when was that?
You get what I mean. 2004.
Yeah,
you get what I mean. Like, unless the pitcher is getting throttled, then they're not going to pull him. So, here, Game 4, perfect example. The Red Sox went up 3-0 in the 3rd inning. Derek Lowe went 7 innings. Marquise for the Cardinals went 6. They kept him in. He only allowed 3 runs. He went 6 innings.
Yeah.
He had 5 walks.
Yeah. Nowadays,
that guy would
have
gotten pulled after the 3rd inning.
Nowadays, nowadays you do that. They pull you in the dugout and they just shoot you. I think they don't even. But
the guy gave up 5 walks. That's the thing of baseball now, man. I don't know. That's my rant of baseball. So, and hockey started yesterday.
Sorry, I don't mean to be that guy. My battery's gonna die. I'm not plugged in.
Oh, plug in.
Well, I don't know where it is.
Oh God.
I don't know how long. I don't know how long. I'm not saying you have to rush. I'm just saying I don't know how long. If I disappear, I'll see you next week.
Tell Sam to find the plug. I don't know what to tell you.
No.
Okay. So I mean, that's the big thing. NHL started this week with Game 1 yesterday. We'll talk more about it next week, but it's 8:00. So we'll run into making picks for this week. Then did you write your picks down? Did you write them all down this week?
No, I didn't write any of them down.
All right. We'll write them down and text them to me later because I don't have my book again.
Okay. I'll keep track.
Yeah. So we'll go forward and we'll pick. Are you ready?
Hang on. I gotta delete all these. Hang on. All right, go ahead.
All right, so Thursday Night Football is tomorrow. It's Tampa Bay at Philadelphia. Taking Tampa. There is another London game this week. It's Miami. It's a battle of Florida in London. It's Miami at Jacksonville in London.
Miami.
So, yeah, I'm taking Miami.
Disco dancer. Might go get a pint after the game this time.
Yeah, he's probably going to get fired if they lose. 1 o'clock games on Sundays. Kansas City at Washington. I'm taking Kansas City.
Yeah, me too.
That game we can just pick that one because it's the Rams at the Giants. So
go ahead.
We've already taken the Rams.
Take the Rams.
Pretty good matchup in the AFC South this week with both teams at 1-3. It's Houston visiting Indianapolis.
I'm gonna take Indy.
Taking Indianapolis as well.
I don't know how to spell that, so I'm just writing Colts.
You could just spell INDY.
No.
Cincinnati is visiting the Detroit Lions this week.
I'm gonna take the Bengals.
Same. Green Bay is visiting. That's probably it might not be. We're gonna get to one where it might not be. Green Bay is visiting Chicago. I got Green Bay.
It's in. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll take Green Bay. I had to think. I was like, who's going to be the quarterback? I was like, wait, it doesn't matter. I'm still taking Green Bay.
Yeah. Is it not? I mean, Aaron Rodgers? Do you know something?
No, I meant for Chicago.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Los Angeles is visiting Baltimore this week.
Baltimore.
You what?
Baltimore.
I'm taking the Chargers. So like,
oh, I'm sorry. You said Los Angeles, and I for some reason heard Las Vegas.
Oh no, it's Los Angeles.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take the Bolts.
Damn it!
I'm sorry. If you had just kept that, I would have just accepted it. And then when you said Raiders later on, I'd be like, wait a minute.
And then we got.
You said LA, and my brain heard Las Vegas.
Minnesota is visiting the Carolina Panthers.
That's a shitty one.
Yeah, it is. That's our final 1 o'clock game of the week.
I'm going to go with the Carolina.
All right. So am I. And then.
Uh-oh.
Oh, man.
Is it going to happen 2 weeks in a row? Get that on DraftKings.
4 o'clock games. The Arizona Cardinals are visiting the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, that's a good game.
It is a good game.
I'm going to
considering what Cleveland and the Los Angeles did last week.
I'm going to take the Cardinals, though.
Oh, my God. Taking the Cardinals, too.
You're good.
I know. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. Las Vegas is in Denver, visiting Denver.
It's a tough one. I think if I had Jon Gruden, I might say Vegas. But it's obviously going to be a distraction. But it is in Denver. I'll take the Raiders.
All right. That one's a coin flip for me, so I'm just going to take Denver.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I did. I was like,
I was just gonna take whoever you didn't pick, just to make it different, just to make it different, just to make one of them different.
It almost doesn't even count because if it's the only one we have different, it's just like we just let that up to fate, both of us.
Dallas is at New England.
Dallas.
Yeah, I'm taking Dallas. And Sunday Night Football, Seattle visiting Pittsburgh.
They lost Russell Wilson. Their defense
You
is
said
horrendous.
Pittsburgh, and I was like, and then I remembered they lost Russell Wilson, and I was like, oh right, yeah, I'm gonna take Pittsburgh. Too then. Yeah.
So we have the coin flip difference.
Yeah, and Monday Night Football, Buffalo is at Tennessee.
Buffalo.
Yeah, same. So, I'm gonna pick 58 points for that game because I think it's gonna be pretty high. Actually, no, I'm gonna.
We don't have a tiebreaker.
No, this is for my pool. I pick the same teams as I do for this as I do in my pool. And I picked 63 points for that game because that's going to be a high scoring game, especially Derrick Henry.
Now that you say that though, it's going to be like 7-0.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I hope that saved because I don't remember all the picks that I did.
All you need to know is that you and I are different on Denver and Oakland. I mean, right. Denver and Las Vegas because of a coin flip. So.
Yeah, I didn't save. So that that.
I mean, just take what I picked and then just change Vegas.
What's what I'm doing? I'm doing it. I vaguely remember what it was. Green Bay, Los Angeles, Carolina, Arizona, Denver, Dallas, Seattle, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Tampa, Miami, Kansas City, Los Angeles. Yeah, that's right. And then 63. Save. Cool. So each week you can listen to Sports and Nonsense on your favorite audio listening platform, whether it be Spotify, iTunes Podcasts, or Castbox FM, in your car or on your favorite smart home device, or just on your phone. If you'd like to watch the video version of the podcast, you can always subscribe to Name Pending Productions. They have the video version of this podcast up on their YouTube channel under the Sports and Nonsense playlist. It was good meeting you on the L train this week. I don't think we are going to be off the L train next week. I think we're going to be taking the L train into week 7.
We better get a rewards membership because it's going to be a while.
My God! One more thing before we go. So everyone knows I'm in fantasy football, right? So I'm playing fantasy football this weekend. Okay. My team, and this is the only game I want to talk about because it was crazy. My team, who I will not say the team name on air because it's kind of what? I can't hear you anymore.
It is rude.
It is kind of rude.
Yeah, it's not racist, but it's rude.
Not racist, but it's a little rude. My team consists of Tom Brady, Devontae Adams, Adam Thielen, Austin Eckler, Josh Jacobs, Dalton Schultz, Mike Williams, Justin Tucker, and the Tampa Bay defense. My team put up 202.34 points this week, which is a lot. I had 199.34 points going into Monday Night Football. Okay. My opponent had, going into Monday Night Football, if I can do quick math here, it's 160.32 points. So I was up by about, what would you say, like 38 points ish? Yeah. So I'd be like, I was up by like 38 points. He has Mark Andrews going, and I have Justin Tucker. So I'm like, oh, I'm good because Mark Andrews isn't going to drop 40 points in a game, and Justin Tucker can just kick field goals to get the win. Justin Tucker kicked one field goal and missed one extra point and didn't kick the other 2 extra points because they went for 2-point conversions. Mark Andrews got 147 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 receptions, and 2 extra points. Two extra points. He got 41.7 points. The final score of this game was 202.34 to 202.02. I won by 0.32 points. And that was after Mark Andrews caught his final pass in overtime. So like he caught his final pass in overtime and the Baltimore's driving. And I'm like, don't throw to him anymore. Don't throw, because one more catch, he's gonna beat me. I'm like, I'm gonna lose because they don't kick the extra point in overtime. So I'm like, I'm gonna lose right here because he's been throwing to him all fourth quarter. And no, he threw it to Hollywood Brown a couple of times and got in the end zone. And I was like, oh, my heart was racing. I couldn't believe it. It was it was crazy. We combined for 404 points in 1 week.
That's a lot of damage.
It's a lot. Yeah. All right. Well, that was it. That's the only other thing I wanted to talk about. I totally forgot about that. But yep. So we will see you all next week for like a week 6 recap. And then we'll talk a little bit about the new games that are dropped because we didn't do that today. So see you all later.